Hey everyone, happy 2026. We're back looking at something different this time. I've never played with one of these before. It's the Libre Computer Sweet Potato. So it's the next one up from Libre Potato, slightly improved. It's 45 bucks US or 55 if you get the PoE header. And I thought I'd try it out. I haven't tried their stuff before. I haven't done really much with Amlogic, and this is in that really entry-level price point, but with what looks like a lot of features. Like they've crammed as much as they can in and kept it cheap for you. So we're going to unbox it. We're going to try out some of the images, have a look at the documentation and what's available. We're going to benchmark it. We're going to discuss what it's really intended for or what its best use case is. And then we're going to stick it on the SBC tier list. Now, if you haven't seen the SBC tier list before, it's something that if you have a look here, I've been running for a little while now. It's a website where every time I play with a SBC like this one, it goes up on the tier list. Now you can see there's no C's or D's yet, so there's always opportunity for a failure. But this Libre Computer project, which is kind of a crowd-funded SBC design project, is pretty awesome. So I've got good expectations here. Let's get into it. Now, first things first, before we look through what this really is, I just want to let you know that PCBWay continue to sponsor this channel because they're absolute legends. Now, if you use the link below, you can get $5 off your first order. If you're just doing a prototype order, it only costs $5 anyway, so you just pay for shipping, which is near nothing for such a small quantity. They also do 3D printing, CNC machining, and all sorts of other stuff that you might find useful. And even if you're not into PCBs or not good at designing, there's projects people have uploaded, including myself, that you can go and have made by them. And even if you don't want that, they've got an awesome module store where a lot of the tools I actually use have come from. So I just want to thank PCBWay for continuing to sponsor this channel. Use the link below, support them, support me, it's hugely appreciated. Now, getting back to the sweet potato, you can see it's like the Libre Potato using the same SoC, but they've got a UEFI bootloader, which is absolutely awesome, Type-C power and PoE support. So they're maintaining a very similar form factor to the Raspberry Pi 2, 3, and 4, but of course making something a little bit different, and USB Type-C is always excellent. If we go to the specifications to give you a quick gander, you can see that Amlogic S905X has 4 A53 cores, so they're going to be about as powerful as you can get with a low power core. They're not A55s, they're not, A70 somethings. They've got the ARM Mali 450 GPU. It can decode 4K 60 in a variety of formats, and it can encode 1080p 60. Now this decoding is important, and you'll see why. It's got 2 gig of 32-bit DDR4 RAM, which is good. It's not 16-bit, and that UEFI BIOS is pretty awesome. Now, having a look at the physical product itself, which is probably what you want to see, let's get that off and unbox it. First of all, something I really like with the box is on the back. Have I got autofocus? Manual focus will do. On the back, you can actually see a breakdown of what everything is. Now, that's really handy if you're just pulling it apart, don't want to bother Googling it, want to know what's what. Extremely useful, extremely handy, and a nice simple box too. Inside, you've got the product with a little bit of foam on top, packed into this plastic molded container, and you can just pop it straight out. Now, if we start having a look around this board, we go up nice and close, we can see a few things. So first of all, you've got 10100 megabit Ethernet, 4 USB 2.0 ports, standard 40-pin GPIO header, which is really useful. You've got a little boot switch on there too. It comes with a heatsink already installed, which is quite nice, and you can see the 2 RAM modules there. Infrared receiver. Now, that's a little bit of a giveaway, I think. Continuing to move around, we have the USB Type-C port there. We have some jumper pins for configuration. I'm not entirely sure, but it changes the GPIO modes. You've got UART, HDMI 2.0. You've got some more header pins there that I've already forgotten about. What's the box say? Oh, that's for a fan. You've got your PoE ports there. You have a pile of extra ports, pins there, which are your audio header. That is pretty awesome. You can actually see up close the, there we go, ADC, clock, everything like that. And lastly, you have 5 pins there for USB. So if you wanted something embedded USB, you can mount it there. On the back, of course, we have eMMC and SD card, along with a QC pass sticker. There is also a boot switch down there. There is overall pretty much nothing inherently wrong. They've got a standard credit card form factor. They've got some niceties like this boot physical switch as opposed to a button and the button over there. That I'm guessing is going to be the SPI flash, the SPI storage, yeah, SPI flash for the UEFI image because it has no onboard storage, and it's quite nice. It's a very interesting component there. If you know what that is, leave a comment below because I'd love to know. The extra mounting holes for additional cooling are quite nice too. So it's a very good design. What we're going to try out though is some software images on it. Now I did run into a slight problem. If you have a look over here, I thought I'd go and grab Debian 12 because that's always my preference. And you can see they've got the UEFI images and they've got the non-UEFI images. However, this domain is dead, it seems. I don't know what the deal is, but we're getting nothing from it. So I was kind of limited in what I could download. And having a look at their Amazon listing, which I'll link to below with an affiliate link so you can buy one yourself, the software support is across the board. Fedora 12, Debian 13, Ubuntu, I didn't even see that in the repo, Ubuntu 24 and CoreELEC all have hardware accelerated video playback and 3D graphics. Now, I don't think any of those will work. The one that I haven't tried yet is the Fedora repo, but I'm guessing that's going to be, how do I install Fedora logo? Probably the same issue. Let's see, Fedora server, minimal, core OS, workstation. We all want workstation. And it looks like you actually download it from Fedora. So future me here, I thought I'd try Fedora out. I thought it'd be a lot easier than it was. So the instructions here basically say that for system ready boards, just flash the raw image. So I went over and I grabbed the latest version, which is Fedora 43. I accidentally said Fedora 12, not 42 here. 43 should work just the same. Grabbed the raw, dumped it on an SD card, confirmed in another forum entry that this was not needed, but it just wouldn't boot. It would just sit there blank, and I was really confused. So I tried checking both options with the switch, MMC and SPI, same result, just red light and blue light, never went green. I also tried debugging it through UART. Now, I made sure that my TX and RX were the right way around. I checked that it was 115200 with no flow control, 8x1, just like the guide says. Turned my RX TX around just in case, tried even hitting the boot button when I turned it on, but I got nothing on UART. Finally, I thought maybe it just needs eMMC. And so I thought I'll grab an eMMC module. I've got some in stock, so I grabbed one of these and I thought I'll flash it, which I did, and then connect it to the board. Now, I'm not sure if I can get this to focus here. Let's manually set it to close. But that eMMC connector is wrong. That's just, you can't put two pointy ends together. So I don't know why they did that, but it means normal eMMC modules can't be used because that's the female socket, not the male socket that we need. So I've given up on Fedora, and yeah, it seems like the SPI flash isn't working because it won't boot to anything when it's using SPI flash. UART doesn't work, so I can't debug it even when I'm holding the boot button, and I'm just stuck using the non-UEFI images, but so be it. What I thought I'd do then is go back to basics and do off with that, and I grabbed Armbian. So if we go to the Armbian website, we'll jump straight to the download section. You'll see that there is actually support out of the box. If we go down to Libre Computer here, Sweet Potato, the awesome bloke Tony Mac releases these images. So I grabbed the KDE Neon Ubuntu image and I flashed that to an SD card. Now the SD card that I've used is one of these nice fast HP MX330s. I still have some of those in stock as well. And we're going to boot this up for the first time and test it out. So we've got the SD card in, we have networking, whoop, pop that out again. Now the USB port is pretty firm. You've got to make sure that's clicked all the way in, because with Armbian on first boot, it's going to offer all the configuration. If you reboot it, you don't get that again, which means there's no password set and you can't log in, at least not as far as I know. You can probably change the Armbian env or Armbian first boot TXT file, but we shouldn't need to. We're going to plug it all in, switch over to HDMI. We should see this start to boot up. What you can't see is I'm just going to plug my keyboard and mouse wireless receiver in, and then we'll try this out. Got the green light flashing. it should give us a HDMI. There we go, HDMI signal at 4K. So it's a little bit of a challenge to read. But there's also some flickering there. I'm not sure if you can see this. So if that's there when I edit it and it's just not my display, there might be something a little bit funny with this HDMI output. Now we're just waiting for App Armor to start, and then we should get the first setup guide. Now, interestingly, for this to boot from the SD card, looking here again, I had to have it set, I should get rid of that. I had to have it set to SPI, not MMC. So the SPI flash might work and might pick up the non-UEFI image I've got on here, but then not be able to boot the UEFI image. I don't really know. Maybe something that you can contribute in the comments if you've used this before. Back to HDMI, App Arm is still going. Come on, buddy. It's got no limit. That's really not awesome. Can I cancel that? No. Control C with the keyboard has done nothing. So I'm going to give this a tick and we'll see how long it takes to time out or complete. Hopefully it complete. Hey. All right. Armbian hardware optimized. First boot is always slow anyway. It's going to have to expand the root file system and do a whole pile of things like that. So you got to be a little bit patient. As long as you're getting this little green heartbeat LED, you know it is essentially booting and doing something. And of course, you can see the HDMI out. There we go. So create a root password, repeat that, and then on bash, ZSH just isn't for me. I'm going to go for no password. Yes, it is weak, but this is for demonstration purposes, so I don't care. Now, this is going to want to set the time zone and the language and generate locales. That is going to take a hot minute. So I'm going to pause it here and I'll come back when that's complete. Whilst that's going, actually, I thought it might be worth mentioning that I do have a Patreon account and I have a number of patrons, and it starts quite cheap from about $3 US, $4 Australian, up to earning too much money. Now with that, you get pre-release access to videos with no adverts, you get behind the scenes access, you get support for your SBCs, like you can message me and ask me for help, and you get a bit more information. Like there's a really, really good community starting to form. Only 15 members, but it's new. And it's through this community, which I greatly appreciate, and we'll get a shout out at the end, that I actually bought this. So I paid for this, it wasn't sent to me for free. And so for that, I want to thank the patrons and ask if you would join and support this channel. If not, all good. I would also just appreciate a like and subscribe below. That makes a hell of a difference to the YouTube, ooh, look at that, to the YouTube algorithm. So hit like, leave a comment to support it, and subscribe if you want to see more. For now, this looks beautiful and I'm quite excited. So enter to log in, sweet, as we expected. Now you got to remember this is quad-core A53, so it's not a high-end fast processor. This is a low-power, very specific device meant for essentially HDMI output, or I don't know if you can see that, but that is rough. HDMI output multimedia use cases. It's got that decoding functionality at a hardware level, so 4K 60 VP9, H.264 and whatnot. Or H.265, I think it was, and it's got the infrared receiver. So whilst KDE is having a quick fit, the fact that it's got the infrared receiver kind of indicates that this is heavily designed for media centers. There's then also CoreELEC, which is like LibreELEC, but meant for Amlogic SoCs, and that is a first-class citizen with this board, so we will try that out too. Right now, I just want to see what this nice user interface is like as far as performance. It is unhappy. I'm just going to see what this is doing, and I'm hoping this is not the board, but you know, we had some weird boot up issues, and I've not had I'm having a stroke trying to look at this. Jesus Christ, please stop. Okay, it's probably because I'm hoping 60 Hertz is just a bit too much. So, my eyes. Come on, apply, apply, apply. Please be better. Please, please, please. It's a minor improvement. Minor improvement. Let's try 1080. Now, I've done 4K 30 with this capture card, so I know it's not the capture card. This is something really busted with the graphical drivers. Now, we did see some issues on boot with that output 2 where there was flickering. So this might not even, oh yes, keep, please, that is so much better. This isn't necessarily, nice mouse cursor, just the output. I think this might be something to do with the board, sorry, not just the drivers. It might be something to do with the board because we saw that issue quite early on, but it appears to do, still some minor issues. It appears to do better, I guess, at 1080p. I'm still getting all sorts of really weird issues. So yeah, this doesn't feel awesome. And does not come with a web browser? Okay. This doesn't feel awesome, and I have tried Debian as well, and I had a very similar experience. However, what we have, as I said, is another SD card with CoreELEC on it. So let's just yoink that straight out, pop that off your bugger, plug this one in, and we're going to do the same thing again and see what happens. So back to HDMI, power is going in right now, and we'll get to see CoreELEC boot and see if that's any different. Got really mixed feelings about this SBC so far. I don't know what to think. I don't know where it's going to go on the tier list. So we'll see how CoreELEC goes. I will make a judgment call after that. I'm of course going to run Geekbench and put the links to the results with V5 and V6 below. There we go. That was about 10 seconds. We've got boot splash and it's resizing, creating the file system, all that sort of stuff. Reboot, sweet. Nice and fast. Yeah, this will be an interesting tier list entry because it's 45 bucks, which is really, really cost effective. It's even got 32-bit DDR4, which is really good. It's got 4 USB ports. It does 4K output, 4K decoding, 2 gig of RAM is more than enough, IR receiver, so clearly it's designed as a media center. A media center should have stable graphics though. I am also using the Armbian builds, not the official builds, because their repo's broken. Oh, look at that. All right, so first setup. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, asking me too many questions already. And to be honest, I've never actually used Kodi before. I have heard that at this point it is going to crash though. So, or not crash, but it's going to hang for a minute whilst it does something and then come back. Now, I'm not seeing any graphical glitches. I don't know what resolution and FPS or frame rate this is running at, so we'll have a look in a tick. We've just got to wait through whatever it's doing right now. There we go. All right, so it is all configured and functional. System information, yep, 2 gig of RAM. It's Linux 4.9 in this. That's a rough kernel. All right, video, it is doing 1080 at 60. So we will just go back and we'll see if we can set that to 4K and see if it wants to work. So display resolution, let's, just in case it's not happy, we'll change this to 30 first because that's what my capture card, this Elgato cheapo device that I've got wants. I really wish I could send this back. They don't seem to make great capture cards, or at least this one's not great. Give me some Linux support, would you fellas? All right, 4K 30. Can she do it? Are we going to have graphical glitches? Come on, baby. Yes, excellent. All right, and that feels perfectly fine. So it looks like 4K 30 to me. The pixels look sharper. We got system information. We can confirm that under here. Excellent. I don't know what 131 freedom units is. In Celsius, it would be nice, but so be it. This is the sweet potato. This is what it does. It is a media center. Now I have some difficult questions to answer. Let's go through price and availability. So it's available from one website and from Amazon. I'll put the link to Amazon below, but it's only available in one variety, and for some reason the Amazon site doesn't ship to Australia. They do have stock, they got 8 left, and the price is very fair. So I'm gonna have to give that 3, and I'm gonna write this down because I know that I always forget that. So price and availability, we've got a 3 out of 5. Next up, features and specs. So it's a common form factor, which is really good. It's got a good low power SoC, which you kind of want for these embedded systems, especially if it's that low power but can still do all that decoding. I saw it draw 3.1 watts max, which is pretty much nothing. You can use it with most USB power supplies then. It has 2 gig of RAM, eMMC support, although the eMMC plugs backwards. It's got GPU support, but we saw GPU issues. It has no Wi-Fi, 10100 Ethernet, and standard GPIOs. It's got no M2 slot. It's got no RTC battery support. It's got no NPU. It can't do 4K encoding. It's got no MIPI CSI or DSI ports, but it does have PoE. Now, this is where it's hard. A lot of what's got is really good. I don't care that it's 10100, that's more than enough throughput for media. I don't care that it's USB 2.0. What I do care about is that we're having graphical glitches, that I couldn't get UART to work, that the boot selection is kind of neither here nor there. It doesn't have an RTC battery connection, which for something like this, I mean, might be good. MIPI CSI, DSI, doesn't matter for its intended use case. 4K encoding doesn't matter for its intended use case. But yeah, losing points for the GPU issues, the lack of Wi-Fi, and the eMMC support being backwards, plus the lack of RTC. So I'm going to say 3 again there. Next up, documentation and support. The documentation, I have to say, is kind of rubbish. There's none specifically for this board, only the board before, but that board before doesn't have UEFI. So you're left reading comments where they say, here's a release or here's some information, and then all the comments have problems, and then they reply and give problems. So it's going to be nearly at the bottom. The documentation is there to some degree, but that's a 2 out of 5. Software images is another hard one. So there's a lot of variations, but the repo's offline, so we can't access them. The Fedora image didn't work as described, so we had to use the Armbian image, and trying both the Debian and the Ubuntu Armbian image didn't come with a web browser. There's graphical issues, and when I did install a web browser on Debian, which I didn't even bother filming here, it had no hardware support. So, like, yes, it's got third-party images. Yes, they're updated regularly. Yes, there are a lot of variations, but none of it is really usable. So besides CoreELEC, CoreELEC was the only one that worked, and that is what it's meant for. But that's still going to be a 2 because you're really pigeonholed into one option there, and it's not an option that lets you use this for everyday use. And by everyday use, I mean running Pi-hole, Home Assistant, stuff like this. Great $45 card if that's what you want to use it for. Not great if the images aren't available. So 2 there. Now, the last one that I'm going to rank, actually 2 last things, performance and reliability. General use didn't work really well. GPU 2D didn't work really well. I'm going to benchmark it, and I'll put the links below. There were what I'd consider some crashes, like lack of UART, and the ease of use wasn't really there. So that's also going to be a 2. Then the last one is accessories and compatibility. So it supports USB Type-C power delivery. That's awesome. It's got PoE. That's awesome. No camera support. So be it. It's not what it's meant for. Storage options are okay. It's got SD/TF card. And it's got eMMC, but you can't connect it. It's got no M.2 slot, so that's a bit difficult. Display 4K 60 output via HDMI 2, and it's a full-size HDMI port. That's really good. Standard 40-pin GPIO header is really good. Comes with that. It's going to support most cases, although not the Pi 2 or 3 cases because of USB Type-C. So accessories and compatibility, I'm going to give it a 3 again. Now, what that means is that that's a 2.5 average. Now, 2.5 out of 5, that's really difficult. Looking at the tier list, I think this is going to be another B tier. This will be our 3rd B tier, and some of it is definitely solvable. So if they improve their documentation to include information specifically for this board, if they fixed up their repo, and I mean, even just that, documentation in the repositories, that would make a hell of a difference. The board is very, very capable, and if you just want a Cody box, it's kind of perfect. But if you're wanting it for anything other than a media center, you're gonna have some problems as we did. Now, I like that it's community funded, that it's community supported. There's obviously a lot of time that goes into doing things like this. Like making an SBC is not easy. So I'm gonna congratulate them for that. Gonna congratulate them for keeping the price point so low. But increasing the variations of hardware available in the distribution should be relatively easy. Fixing the repository so we can download Debian should be relatively easy. And then updating the documentation for this board, which isn't even that new, should be relatively easy. And that would bump it up to an A or a B. I'm not sure what the graphical glitches are. I'm not sure what's going on with UART, and I'm not sure what's going on with that SPI flash for the UEFI and Fedora. All fixable though, all fixable. So thank you to my patrons for funding this for me. Greatly appreciated. Thank you to Libre Computer for making great SBCs, even if this one's not up to scratch. I really enjoyed twiddling around with it, albeit a little bit frustrated. Thank you to PCBWay. Use that link below and get yourself some cool stuff. Whether you're into PCBs or not, there is all sorts of awesome stuff out there. And of course, thank you to you folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. If you've watched this much of it, you probably do, so please do. Otherwise, leave a comment below. If you've worked with this, if you have any feedback, if you can help me get this working, that would be awesome. I hope you're having a great start to the year. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I'll catch you folks next time. Ciao.